That's why I jumped across to the next topic here, is that I think sometimes, and I wouldn't say word guilty is maybe a tough word to use, right? But sometimes when you think about this medium, I think about activities, sessions, workshops.
Right.
However, I did say to someone, and I admitted to that, because there's a little cupboard just around the corner here, hidden from my wife so that she doesn't see how much money I spend on these things, is that there's a whole load of these card decks that I have that I've never actually used in a actual situation. Because what I mostly do, and this kind of links, and I want to hear your reflection on it, is like it links to the before. Because what I actually do is I look at the content, I look at the thinking behind it, I look at the structure. Sometimes I learn more from the card deck to try and get into the head of the creator and what they're trying to do, and then apply and twist it into the context that I require. And the cards might not ever appear in the session or the work I'm doing. But I just wanted to set the flow into just before, during, and after that you have here.
The purpose of before, during, and after as a topic is really to say, because there's two sets of people who use card decks a lot today. And in my mind, they're just ahead of the curve, right? It's not that they're odd, but they're just ahead of the curve. One is facilitators and coaches, right? And the other group is the Tarot Oracle crowd. And both sets of people own 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 decks, right? I don't know. I'm guessing you're in the 50, you're in the 20 to 50 range.
It's a problem.
Right. But it's a good problem. I'm saying I'm addicted to knowledge. That's all, right? It's not. I'm addicted to finding information in a way that's easy for me to consume and recall, right? That's a positive thing. There are lots of bad addictions, right? This isn't one of them. You know, the way we think of it with Deckible is, and I talk to facilitators about this, think about before the day, because facilitators are often paid by the day. So they think about the billable hour or the session, right? And that's what they're thinking about, the performance that they're putting on. It's a performance when they're coordinating and they've got an agenda to run to and they're running time and managing people and all that stuff, right? Their head is full of that stuff, but it's great. But what my kind of thought process on that is, look, if you can make the content, if there's a deck that's relevant to the topic you're working through, you can make that available to everyone before the session, right? Then there are a set of people who don't want to be overloaded or confronted with this model that you're going to present to them in the session. Present it before the session so people can do pre-homework. You're not shocking anyone. And then very much so, there's another set of people who do post-thinking, not pre-thinking. And they want to revisit that stuff after the meeting and say, hey, when we talked the other day in the session, I thought about this and I've gone back and read the stuff again. And now I want to talk about this. I didn't raise it at the time because I didn't feel blah, 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 all that stuff, right? So if you recognize before, during, and after think about the life cycle of content, it's about building habits and being able to revisit anything at any point. Hey, you know the day when I said this? Well, what I really now feel is this, right? We're allowed to change. We're allowed to reflect. And that's the healthy thing about, you blend personal growth and the workplace. There's nothing you say is ever cast in stone. You're allowed to go back and say, I feel differently today about this. I feel we made a bad decision last week, whatever it was, because we all went down this path. I've thought about it. How about we revisit that?
Totally. Right? Sorry, I'm interrupting again. One of the areas that also is interesting for me is that recently I reviewed this card deck a while ago, as well as a physical version of it. I can't remember how many, but it's a set of archetypes. It's like these general archetypes, magician and the traveler, explorer, adventurer. And I used it once in a session, and then a dear friend of mine, client, he contacted me a couple of weeks ago. I said, listen, can I borrow the card deck? I want to, and she's a more than able facilitator herself, but let's grab the card deck, went off, used it, and they tried to attribute certain archetypes and attributes of these archetypes to some of the strategies and work they were doing. And I was thinking that, cool, of course, I wanted my card deck back because it's the way I am. But then it's interesting, even an after share or at least have a token or reminder that, hey, these are the 3 archetypes that this group looked at.
Imagine if your music today was like that. You had to give it the album and you couldn't play it. How spoiled are we? We now want to be able to play anything on our phone. We want every book we've ever read to be on our phone. But you're treating your card decks like a library. Fred's got this book, Mary's got, where is it? I want it all. And so we live and breathe with this device. It's everywhere we go, right? So why are my card decks not on here, right? If you buy into the idea that card decks are useful for all the reasons we talked about, right? And I'm not obviously I'm the founder of Deckible. This is a thing that we believe in passionately, right? But everything we've talked about up to this point is just common sense about how we learn, grow, and change in 2025, right?
Yeah.